5 o'clock. That's right. It's time to clock out and get to living, get on the other side of life. That's right. Get in the car, fire it up, and hang out with me and the First Lady. This is I Got the Smokes, Let's Ride podcast with me, BTCG. Sponsored by Camacho. That's right. Camacho is sponsoring this episode and the episodes to follow for the next year. So saddle up, let's ride. If you don't like these podcasts and you are just OCD and you got to listen to them anyway, blame Camacho. Thanks, Camacho. We are going to be smoking some what? Camacho. First Lady's not going to smoke, but I am. And I'm going to smoke this Camacho Broadleaf Toro Honduran wrapper, Honduran binder, Honduran filler, but a little bit of Dominican Republic spicy in there right there. Look at that thing. That is gorgeous. That nice little burnished copper color right there. You know it's a Camacho when you can read the band from halfway across the room. That thing is on fire. And I told you, I even warned you, the First Lady was going to be on here, and before Sammy Flo or Jay Bates or Mac Berkson say anything, no, she's not giving anything away. I got everything on lock. We're not doing that here, but now you can always check out Second Saturdays with the First Lady live. Mostly it's on Second Saturdays unless we have issues we have to deal with. But the giveaway is amazing and huge, and the information is fantastic. I am so surprised, honestly. When First Lady, I'm being honest, I'll be transparent. When the First Lady pitched it to me that she wanted to do a show, and pitched it to Chief, and I'm like, well, you don't smoke cigars. And Chief said, you don't smoke cigars. And she goes, no, but I love people who do, and I've experienced a lifestyle in a way most non-smokers would, and there's something valuable in there, and I want to share the experience with people that are cigar adjacent. And so I was like, okay. And Chief said, okay. And we were like, she's going to figure out it's a lot of work, and she's not going to want to do it, and so let's let her do it and see what happens. I'm being honest. I'm just being honest. I'm being factual here. And she has done amazing content. I have learned more. She was sitting, texting, messaging back and forth with some people in the industry that I don't even talk to, right? Kind of jelly. And telling me information that I didn't know, which was interesting and informative. But if you don't come just for that, you can come for the giveaway, and the giveaway is amazing. That's right. It's the Second Saturday with the First Lady, and all you have to do is be present and comment to win. You do, and it's fantastic and phenomenal. So while I light this up, by the way, I do a lot of that. I seem like I'm coming into a landing and I'm done where I can take a breath, and then I'm like, oh wait, the squirrel, sparkly, I got to say something, and then I just jump in with something else. So by the way, what was I going to say?
Gone.
Yeah, Jimmy. I had something to say, and I stopped myself. So you can't drop the train twice and expect it to stay on the tracks. I will figure it out in a minute. Oh! By the way, what we're going to be talking about today, just like I told you last week on episode 19. By the way, 20 in a row. Proud of myself. Pat on the back. That's right. I'll give me a little bit. So the First Lady's not going to pat me on the back for doing 20 shows, but I am, because I'm glad I've stuck through, haven't missed yet. But we are going to be talking about post PCA and how the First Lady should wear a cape and have theme music, because she is a life saver. I'm also going to talk about my aversion to everything equestrian, living in a world of equestrianists and horses. It's like a meat lover being in a vegetable farm or in one of those Earth Nugget vegetable stores.
There is nothing wrong with vegetables.
There's so much wrong with vegetables. But while I fire this up and get to puffing on this great Camacho cigar, I'm going to let the First Lady start talking. So, First Lady, take it away.
Well, I mean, if you're going to give me the microphone,
oh, Lord,
you need to at least give me some pre-warning, like, hey, you're going to have a minute or 30
okay,
seconds
so
to say something.
I'm going to give.
Then give me the microphone.
I'm going to give.
I'm prepared for that. I'm not prepared for that today. So, your folks are going to be like, ooh, what are we going to get today? I will say this. Go ahead and light it up.
I'm going to give. I'm going to give First Lady her warning about she's going to be on the microphone. Hey, First Lady, here's a warning. You're going to be on the microphone. Ready, set, go. There we go.
Yes. So you said that you are averse to all things equestrianistics.
Yes.
And yet, one of your catchphrases I've got the Smokes Let's Ride
in a car.
and Saddle Up Let's Ride.
It's drive time at 5 o'clock on Friday. It is Let's Ride. It's
But
supposed to be focusing on people driving home on the
you are the
podcast.
king of. Do you know where
She
this
called me
came
king.
from? Do you know where this catchphrase came from? Where do you think Saddle Up Let's Ride or even Let's Ride comes from?
No.
It does not come from no, you're right. But it does come from equestrianistic stuff.
Boo.
So you cannot be that averse.
Oh, I'm averse.
Or somewhere in the conscious part of your brain you're averse, but the subconscious brain, you are here for it all.
Look, girl, listen here. I can say broccoli, asparagus, cauliflower, and edamame all day long. That don't mean I'm going to enjoy eating it. I can say it. I can say that's where it came from, but I don't have to enjoy it.
But when it becomes a catchphrase that you regularly use, I'm going with, this is the subconscious piece breaking through and saying, look how in tuned I am with the First Lady.
With the First Lady, yes. With
And
horses, no.
all things equestrianistic.
No, because I can tell you, and I'll talk in the story later, about the knees that were knocking and the bladder that was spasming in the field full of way too big four-legged animals.
You know,
So,
those
no.
really were not big horses.
My behind, they weren't big horses. That one horse, those two horses, there was two of them. Them jokers, their backbone was like right, it was above the bill of my hat.
Is that what it felt like?
No, it was it was that thing. Those were Clydesdale draft horses, huge monster
I need pictures
horses.
for reference.
I had
didn't take
pictures.
any,
No, I
did you?
took I
Did you
took
take
some
some?
because I wanted evidence of what killed me.
If it happened?
Yeah, if you were giving my eulogy, you'll say Bob died by horses.
Oh,
Yeah,
that would be so sad.
got stomped to death and mauled and ate. Them horses are worse than kangaroos. But
Have you ever been in the presence of a kangaroo?
I've seen them in the zoo.
Have you ever been in the presence of a kangaroo?
I've been in a zoo.
So the answer is no. You know, I was watching some reels today as I was mindlessly scrolling and doing all of that thing that, you know, you do when you turn your brain off. And some of the things that come up on my scrolls, because apparently I watch them and the algorithms are like, oh, let's show her this. Are some of the people on, you know, when they do these congressional hearings and they go up there and you've got all this panel of senators and then you've got this one person sitting at the table and they're all like asking them questions and reading them facts and all these things, and they're sitting at the table going, I don't know. I can't recall that. I don't have a list of those. I don't know who did this and that. And then they go, are you not in charge over there? Well, no, we work as a team. Like, don't play around with the words. Like, let's just get to it. Let's own our crap. Let's just, like, okay, I'm in charge over there. This person did this while I was there. It sucks. I'm accountable. Let's go forward. What do you want to know?
This feels like it's going to turn bad for me in just a minute. I don't know where the other shoe is
I'm
falling,
just
but
saying,
I can just
like,
feel
let's
one
just
creeping
use
up
the
on me.
words. No, I have not been in the presence of a kangaroo.
I have in a zoo. Boy, that was a long lead up for such a short statement. That was like a 3-minute joke with
playing the word game.
I have been in the presence of a kangaroo.
Which zoo were you at when you saw a kangaroo?
I don't know, but I seen them in real life.
Because I'm thinking of all of the zoos in the
kangaroo in
southeastern
the zoo.
United States that we have been to. And I do not believe
I have seen a kangaroo.
ever,
I have seen a kangaroo.
ever.
I've seen a kangaroo. Because I tell you,
Now, okay, one of these keyboard warriors out there who listens regularly to your podcast is going to Google, are there kangaroos in any zoos in the southeastern United States?
well, now that you've said that, but I have seen a kangaroo, because I remember going, okay, kangaroos can rest on their tail and can pick up their feet and can kick you with their feet and they can gore
I mean,
you to
that's all
death.
stuff you learn in science
And
class.
and so when I was looking at the kangaroo, I was like, that tail's not as big around as I thought it would be. I thought it would be like a tree trunk, and it's large in comparison to the body, but it's not as large as I thought it was.
I'm thinking your zoo tour was led by Christopher Robin.
Winnie the Pooh?
Is there not a kangaroo in Winnie the Pooh?
Well, there is. There's two, isn't there? There's Roo and Roo's mama, but that's not. No, no. That's.
I got your brain cells
All right.
firing today.
Hey, let's. I got the Smokes Let's Ride podcast is ending right now because
No,
First
this is
Lady's
going to
going to
make
beat
for
me
an
half to death.
enjoyable ride home. Although I must say, you did startle me at the beginning. I wasn't expecting the very loud. You brought that back from the archives.
Just for you.
Thanks.
Just for you.
But that to me gets everybody going, woo, now I got to ride home. And are they going to ride home fast or are they going to ride home slow?
Well, I'll tell you what. I tell them every time, and I probably will say it at the end unless we just run out of time, because I really tried to be exactly at 1 hour. If you don't have an hour drive and you get home before this episode is over, please, 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 turn off the radio, turn off the keys, get out of the car, because on the other side of that door is where life starts. Get in the house, go be with people you love, go with people who love you, and start living that weekend, because Monday comes fast. And that's a very nice loving sentiment, and you're just laughing all over it. What the heck?
Because to me, when I get home, I don't hop right out of the car.
No, you sit in the car and watch your phone saying, I can't believe I got to go in and see these people.
No, I sit there. I mean, it depends on, like, if I have the seat warmer on and I'm feeling really, like, comfortable. I might be on a telephone call. And I guess if I were in the middle of a podcast and it was good, I would be like, ugh, but you can hit pause and resume later, right?
Yes.
So, like, I might be willing to do that. But if I was in a really good point, I would be like, okay, I'm just going to sit right here and listen.
Let me...
Before I have to go in the door and get to life. Because in that 30 minutes to an hour, you are in your own world capsule.
You're killing my vibe.
Where,
You're killing my vibe.
where no work is coming this
I'm
way,
telling
and
them
no
that
family
this-
is coming this way, and you just got you in the car and your hot seat warmer.
Look, this podcast is just supposed to be a bookmark between a transition between one place and the other, not to fill the plate. What I'm saying is it's not as valuable as what you can have on the other side. So get to the other side.
That is 100%
And I
true.
will tell you, since you brought it up,
Although self-care is valuable.
I am not the only one who says this. Every last one of your children say this. I have heard your aunt say this, your sister say this, and one of your favorite bosses in the whole wide world says this. You take for flipping ever to get out of a dang car.
I do.
I'm at a point now to where I used to get out of the car and then I'd
That's true.
sit there. I'm not going to walk in and hold the door for a half an hour waiting for her to walk in. Half an hour is an exaggeration, 29 minutes. And so I just get out and I stand at the car like a
That's
doofus.
because I'm trying to avoid having to go back out for something that I left.
I stand at the car like a doofus waiting on her to get out. So now at this point, she turns off the car and I sit and I stay on my phone.
So that's just
because
negative
until she
messaging.
opens the door, and see, I used to wait till she opened the door, then I get out. But she'll open the door, she'll fake you. She'll open the door and then she'll just sit there.
Okay.
And so I wait till 1 foot is out of the car before I get out of the car, because this lady right here, God, I love her so much, but sometimes I want to say, get out of the dang car. But if you tell Sarah, hang on just a second.
From negative messaging. So negative
hang on just a second.
messaging.
If you tell Sarah what to do, I'm trying to
to
block you out. If you tell Sarah what to do, I guarantee she would do exactly the opposite, unless she figures out that you're telling her something to do exactly the opposite, and then she'll do what you tell her to do just because she knows that's not what you want to tell her to do. This one is a leader. This one is an individual, and oh my gosh, you can't. It's like herding cats. It's like pushing a cooked spaghetti noodle forward. It just don't work, because she gonna do what she gonna do. Just let her go. Hopefully that wind is captured in sails and it'll travel your ship across the world. If you're in a trailer park, you better hang on, because nothing's gonna be left standing.
Can we address the negative messaging now?
I think I gave a lot of negative messaging.
Because it all depends on how you look at it.
No.
If you say to yourself, oh, I'm standing here like a doofus, negative messaging. Let's turn that frown upside down, speaking of kangaroos. See how I
turn
did
the
that?
frown upside down? I don't get, how does a kangaroo upside down frown?
Do you not know where that comes from?
We ain't got time for all
Jeffrey
that.
the kangaroo from Toys R Us? Turn that frown upside down?
No.
Yes.
All I know with Jeffrey is I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. There's a million toys that I can take that I can play
Toys
with.
R Us. Yeah.
Bikes and trains to video games. Da 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 da. I don't want to grow up, 'cause if I did,
I'd want to be a Toys R Us kid.
more games, more toys. Oh boy!
There you go. Turn that frown upside down, Jeffrey the kangaroo. So anyway, if you turn that frown upside down and you go, I am being a chivalrous gentleman right now. I am reaching to the bottom depths of my soul, and I am showing her how much I care. And I am here for the ride. You've got the smokes. Let's ride.
That was a good segue. But what really
You're
happening
welcome, world.
is the first lady is sitting in the car going, I'm gonna see how long I can keep this goober outside.
I'm sitting in the car going,
literally.
I need to get my water bottle. I have to get my purse. Let me make sure any gum wrappers that I wadded up and threw in the floor go out with me. I'm looking to see if there's something from the back seat that I need to pull out. Like, I'm making sure that no kids have been left behind.
This is feeling like podcast confessions for me because I'm telling things I've never told before, but there's at least 100 reasons why I would not want the First Lady to ever go into the Marine Corps, because I don't want her to have to go through all that suffering. I don't want her to be that well armed and trained. It's bad enough as it is. She would take over a country probably. But one of the reasons I thought you were shooting a bird. I was like, I'll be doggone. This is family friendly, Sarah.
Scratching an eyebrow.
One of the main reasons I wish that Sarah would have been in the Marine Corps is because they make you run fast from place to place, and I think that would have helped her better prepare. Because I don't leave stuff in the truck, I'm the most unorganized, fly by the seat of my pants guy.
Listen,
I parked the car. I'm out the car. The wheels are still rolling when I shut the door.
The car and the truck. If I did not do that on a regular basis, you would be rolling around with 500 pounds of empty, discarded, thrown in the back seat, Diet Pepsi bottles.
Do you not understand
Tell me I'm wrong.
That saves energy.
Tell me I'm wrong.
That saves energy.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Because it saves energy.
Tell me I'm wrong.
It saves. I said no. It saves energy because.
No, I'm not wrong. You're right.
Because it saves. I do it intentionally. It saves energy because.
No, you do it intentionally because you are lazy.
Insulation.
Just throw it right back there in the back seat. Forget all about it.
The more soda bottles, the more Diet Pepsi bottles you have in the vehicle, the less amount of cabin air has to be air conditioned, which makes the engine run smoother. Less fuel, more efficient. And if you're
you're not in charge by telling us you're not in charge.
If you're in an old busted Cadillac and the air conditioner goes out, you can be as smart as Chief and cut the end off the bottle,
that is true.
Stick it in the window halfway up, and it makes an air vent. If we don't have those bottles and the air conditioning goes out, you're going to sweat. I'm thinking of you by leaving those bottles in the car. You're welcome. You're welcome. And do I get any thanks for that? No, I don't. I don't. I don't.
But that's one of the reasons it takes me so long to get out.
Let me ask you a question. Can you believe?
And the other reason it takes me so long to get out is sometimes I just don't want to climb out of the car.
It is frustrating. Can you believe, though, that we've been talking for 20 minutes already?
Yes.
We are a third of the way done already.
That's nice.
It's fast.
But we have show to get to. And who is this show sponsored by?
By our friends at Camacho. That's right, Camacho. Live life bold. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your cigars. And if you're smoking a cigar, you might as well smoke a Camacho. Why? Because they're pretty dang good. Got lots of blends for lots of flavors, lots of people.
Question.
And I'm not done doing my little intro. Can I do my little thing?
Go ahead.
It's over. Camacho.
Okay. With Camacho, this just popped into my head.
Okay.
Are Camacho cigars usually very bold cigars, or are there not bold Camachos?
That's a solid question. Um, Camacho is part of the Davidoff family, Davidoff of Geneva.
Right,
So Davidoff has Davidoff, which is
right.
white glove, very fancy, top hat and ties kind of thing. And then you have Avo, which is very musical. Avo Uvasian, he was the guy who was behind all of it, and he was a gentleman. He was a friend. He was musical. He was an entertainer. He was one of those guys. So it has a symphony of flavors running through it. And then you have Zeno, which our friend Laureen is doing Zeno, which is I want to say it's kind of like Kenny Chesney and, what's his name? Margaritaville. That kind of vibe, that beachy, chilly out, just hanging out vibe. There's also the Zeno Platinums and everything else. And
Are you talking
then
about like Jimmy Buffett?
Jimmy
Like,
Buffett, thank
okay.
you very much. And then there is the Camacho. And the great thing about Camacho, it's got a scorpion on it. It says "Live Life Bold." It has really captured the essence of American palate. It has transitions. The flavors hit you like jazz or like cowboys and Indians, not on horses, but on stagecoaches that don't have
Welcome
horses.
to the subliminal.
But it's not a blend of aggression for aggression's sake, but it has more excitement to it.
So, in all of those words, the answer to the question was yes.
I got 39 minutes. I don't just say yes. That's like if I did cigar reviews. Yes, I'm smoking a cigar. It tastes like cigar. Thanks for coming. Let's go.
So
You
when
don't.
I
You
hear the
don't.
whole line of Davidoff, okay.
Avo,
So here's what I
Zeno,
think. I hear Davidoff,
Camacho.
and I feel like the whole cool water thing. Splashy on the beach,
Are you
and
talking about the cologne?
and the white linen outfits, and you're walking along, and it's pretty and gorgeous, and makes you want to like, oh my goodness, look at that, it's beautiful. Then I hear Avo, and I go, Ave Maria,
No.
refined,
No.
classic.
No.
And then I hear Zeno, and I'm like, ooh, seltzer bubbly waters.
Okay. 2 out of 3.
And then I hear Camacho, like Macho Man Randy Savage.
That'll work. You got 3 out of 4. You missed Avo by a bit. And Davidoff, yes, is more of a refined, elegant. But when I think of Davidoff, I think of guys sitting in a library study with the big globe that has the alcohol in it, and the big tables with the smell of that leather and that dustiness, with the big ladder that rolls around the books, and you've got heads of different animals from
I wonder what
different
their
safaris.
purpose in their advertising, because advertising is meant to evoke imagery and things like that. It's meant to work also on that subconscious mind we've been talking about. They put these words out there to make you think of things. And I know are all of the Camacho lines, do they all have a scorpion on them?
I can't say all, but most.
I gotcha.
Almost all of them. I would say yes, but I can't say empirically. But yes, there is purpose in branding. Davidoff has a total. When we went to the booth at PCA, and Davidoff, Avo, Zeno, and Camacho were in one booth. It's the first time they've been back for like 6 years. And Davidoff, it was like sectioned off into quarters. Now they had the Zeno bus, the big yellow bus that Law pulls around. They had that in there, and they had a coffee barista thing with coffee tables, little small tables like they had in Europe on the streets.
Right.
And so you had that whole vibe. And then you went to the Camacho side, and it was much darker, much more aggressive. The imagery was extremely bold. And then you went to the Avo side, which was a little bit on the mellower side. It wasn't a musical thing. I was kind of surprised they didn't do a New Orleans kind of theme off of it. But it still had a clean, a fresh experience to it. And then you went to Davidoff, and Davidoff was much more like a very elegant experience. Davidoff has a new humidor, which is carved. It's big thing. Thing's like 2 foot wide, 18 inches deep, and it's probably 8 or 9 inches tall. And it's carved out of one piece of granite.
Oh, wow.
And it weighs a ton. It actually has hinges, support hinges on the lid,
For the lid.
so you don't slam the lid. But it is that feeling of iconic, of been around for a long time. It's one of those things that just a legacy brand. And so they do have differences in imaging and messages. They are all different. Now, I love a Davidoff. There's some Davidoffs I really, really like. The Xeno Nicaragua is a great hanging out stick. Avo, the new Avo Nicaragua is just amazing. And the flavors do taste different. Camacho, it's a lot like a fruit salad. When you have fruit salad, you get a piece and you taste the melon, you taste the cantaloupe, you taste the grape, right? You taste each and every flavor. And in Camacho, you get that. With a Davidoff, it's much more like, I talk about this often, like your chicken soup after a day, or lima beans and ham hocks. You don't taste just the chicken. You don't taste just the carrots. It's
Everything gets murried.
yeah. It's all combined.
And murried, by the way, is the southern way of saying married.
Zeno is in between both. Nicaragua is like our Avo is much more like a symphony. You have flavors that
Again, the Ave Maria.
that'll
It's like
hit
a
you that'll hit
classic
you
symphony.
that'll hit you for a while. You'll get one flavor, leathers will come to the front, and then they'll pull back a little bit, and you might get some minerality and tinniness, and it'll come back for a little bit. It's almost like a bunch of little soloists with a supporting cast behind them. It's really interesting. It's amazing how you can take leaves from the same plant, even though they're different varieties of that plant, and you put them together in a way where the flavors change. You could put those same tobaccos, the same amount, in a cigar and just change where they sit in the middle of the bunch, and it flavor changes. It is amazing. Like corn, right? Green beans.
Like
They pretty much
corn?
taste exactly the same. Corn, you get corn, it tastes like corn. Now you got a little difference, but really you just taste corn. You don't say, I taste corn with a bit of honey and a little bit of
You
cinnamon.
don't
and a
eat
little bit
popcorn
of...
and go, ooh, I taste
No. I'm
corn.
not talking about popcorn. I'm talking about corn on the cob corn, or I'm talking about green beans, right? You have those flavors, and it just tastes like green beans. But with tobacco, and like coffee, and like wine, it the flavors can be nuanced out from different things. Even though all wine comes from grapes, all coffee comes from coffee beans. But there's so many differences in the way that you process it, and the way that you blend it, and the way that you do, really, really makes a difference in experience. But now we're almost at the halfway point, and we have not talked about what we want to talk about. We went after PCA. It was our anniversary. How many years?
34.
She had to think about it.
I get stuck at the 33. I still keep thinking 33, but it is 34.
I've talked too long.
Oh no. You're going to have to let me talk some more.
Oh, Lord, no. But let me segue you into it then. So it was our anniversary.
34 years.
We got done with PCA. We got to go see Jack Hyatt Camacho. We saw some friends in Louisiana. And then we decided to go to a horse ranch, Southern Cross Horse Ranch. And I'm going to let in Georgia?
Yes.
In Georgia. And so I'm going to let the First Lady start off by talking about the experience somebody would get if they went to the Southern Cross Horse Ranch to stay. You don't have to talk about just visiting. You talk about staying.
It's the Southern Cross Guest Ranch, and it's in Madison, Georgia. And I will tell you guys, I think I've said this once before. I think I said it on my live last month. It was not a place that I was like, yeah, let's go there, because we were celebrating our anniversary. And I am very big on, like, this is our thing. Let's do something we both want to do. And Bob was like, no, you know what? We've been doing PCA this whole week. I have done a lot of things, just me. We didn't spend much time together. We spent some time together, but not much. And because I don't go to PCA either. So he does his thing, I do my thing, and then we come together, and at some point, we have a little bit of time together, and then he does his thing, and I do my thing. And so we ended up going there at your almost insistence. No, let's go do it. Let's do it. So what you are going to get if you ever decide to go, it is really nice. Now, when you first arrive, you're like, oh, this is it. But then when you get there, you go, wow, this is really nice. And like my first impressions, I think you even asked me when we did our tour around, you were like, so what do you think? And I was like, this feels like adult horse camp. This feels like adult camp. Because I don't know if you've ever gone to camp or been a chaperone taking some people to camp. whatever. But they have the cafeteria where they make all of your food, and you don't have to do anything, and you can go in there and you can get drinks and you can get snacks, and you can, it's 24/7. Like if you want coffee, they've got coffee in there. If you want some chips, you can go in and get some chips. You want some soda, you go get some soda. Like it's there. And so it's a whole building all off to itself, and they do a buffet style way of feeding you. And so you show up during breakfast time, you get breakfast. You show up during lunchtime, you get lunch. You show up during dinner time, you get dinner. And they ring a bell. They ring a bell, letting you know it's supper time. It's time to eat. Chow time. But surrounding the entire place where the house and all of the property is are just these beautiful green fields full of horses. It really is the horse lover's dream spot. Because if all you want to do is soak in a horse, you can go there and do it. Because not only do they have like the bed and breakfast piece, because you can go and not ride horses at all. You can go and not eat all 3 meals a day. You can go and just do breakfast. So you can stay, just have breakfast, and then go out and do whatever you want, come back, relax, swim in the pool, which they have a heated pool, which is 9 feet deep, so you can swim. Um, but if all you wanted to do was sit in the essence of ranch, you can. Because the other part of their business is Valhalla, I think it's just called Valhalla Farms, I'm not sure. But they are a breeding barn. So their main source of income from horses and equestrian stuff is that they are breeders. And they have been doing horse breeding for a very long time. And so you can just go down there and watch. And they are actively doing their business. So you can soak in the hoarseness down there, or you can just watch people working. It is going all the time. There's something to do, even if you don't ride horses. So you had time to do stuff. What'd you do?
I went, checked out town and looked at the antique stores. But it was over 500 acres, and there was a lot of fields all the way around, and there was woods, lots of woods. There was a little lake, I guess you call it a pond. There was a stream, creek that the horse people got to ride through. The equestrians got to ride through, and they got to go through the woods. Now, one of the things that you didn't hit on real quick was the volume of horses. This is not
I
a
think they
place
had
with
like
10 horses.
230 or 240.
Horses are everywhere, and they're some of them are in their stalls, but most of them are just out to roam all day and all night. And so,
And the woods are not fenced off
no, they can go hang out in the woods.
completely from. Part of the woods are fenced off, but like the open pastures, the forestry, the creek, all of that stuff is. We were riding through the woods, and then boop, there'd be a group of horses. You'd be like, oh, there's some horses.
And they come up to you at the fence, and they let you scratch them. First lady gave, what'd you call them, scratches?
Butt scratches.
Butt scratches for hours and hours and hours. The sun actually went down one night because she was just out there. We were out there for what, 3 days?
Yes.
3 days. And so, tell them about the riding schedule and experience.
So it is, if you buy the what's called the all-inclusive package. The all-inclusive package, it is breakfast, lunch, dinner, all the snacks and foods, and then you get 4 hours of riding a day. So they set up 2 hours of riding in the morning, 2 hours of riding in the afternoon, and they really have it down to a science. So you have the breakfast in the morning. You have time to get ready. You have time to walk down to the barn, whatever you need to do that day, and you go down there. And it really is a neat experience because you are they assign you a horse at the beginning of however long you're going to be there. And the goal is for you to ride that horse the entire time you're there. But if you're there, like we were there, I think we were there 4 days, 3 nights, 4 days. And the whole goal is for you to keep that horse. But if like you're not happy and you're like, I think I'd like to try something else, you can do that too. But once they assign you the horse, then it's your job to go and get them from the field. So they have a hand that's at the gate, and then you tell them what horse you're there for. You have your lead rope. They go get the horse out of the field. They bring it up to you, and then you take it from the gate up, and you do the grooming and the tacking. They, show you where your bridles and your saddles and your saddle pads and all of the grooming buckets are, and everything that you need, helmets, tack, all that stuff.
Which you love doing.
I do. I do. I could just groom a horse all day. I have come to understand in my 4-day experience, I need longer. I need more research. But I could really be with a horse every day of my life and be happy with that. But anyway, you go down, you get your horse, you bring it up, you groom it, you tack it, you get yourself ready to go. Of course, they're giving you instructions because, let's face it, a lot of people want to ride, but they don't know how to ride. And I think that they do a really good job of giving you kind of this crash course into riding and being with your horse and responsibilities and checking and fly sprays and all that stuff. And so then, now, one of the drawbacks for me in going with you to this is that you don't ride. You don't like to ride. You don't want to ride. You don't want to try it out. And so what happens is it leaves me by myself, and you cannot ride by yourself for good reason, because safety is important. And horseback riding is, I want to say, the most dangerous sport. Did you know that?
No, and you should not have told me that.
Yep. Horseback riding is like the most dangerous sport because a lot can go wrong, because you are dependent upon a 1,000+ pound prey animal to carry you from one place to another. So you have to learn how to talk to a horse, because you have to communicate, because horses are very intuitive. They can hear your heartbeat from like 60 feet away. They know you by your heart rhythms, by your breathing rhythms. They hear very, very well, and their senses are on fleek because they are prey animals and they are hardwired to survive 24/7. That's what makes it dangerous, because if they don't feel safe, you don't feel safe. So anyway, that is the sport and the equestrianism that I love, love, love. But when you go by yourself to something like this, you are at the mercy of someone else. So you kind of want to make friends with people because they might be the people you want to ride with, so that you don't have to go out with a guide. Because when you go out with a guide, you never know who's going to be in your group. So, like, I take horseback riding lessons. I go every Friday. I've done this for the past 3 years, and I still feel like a novice horseback rider. Although I have good experience. And so when you ride in a group with a guide, like, you don't know who you're getting. You might be getting the first time ever on a horse I'm going to ride. And now you have to get this over 1,000-pound animal to work with you. And you don't have a clue that they're a prey animal. You don't have a clue that their senses are on fleek. And they can hear a wild deer poop in the woods. You don't know that the messages you give them with your legs makes them go faster. And so if you're riding and you feel insecure, what do you think your legs are going to do? You're going to squeeze tighter, right? You're trying to make sure you stay in that saddle. Well, when you squeeze tighter, the message you're giving a horse that's been trained is go faster. And that is the opposite of what you want to do when you feel like you might fall off, right? So, there's a lot to riding horses that people don't know, but I want to say these folks do a great job at helping the beginner rider, like, understand what they need to be doing. They go slow, they ask you your comfort zone, they ask you all of those questions so that they can kind of match you up with a good horse.
And the trails were well groomed.
Very well groomed.
And they were wide open, because sometimes Sarah will come back and talk about how she was going through these trails and they're so narrow, the horse is trying to rub you off on the trees, and it's uncomfortable. It's I mean, they literally, it looks like they swept the areas where the horse excuse me, where the horses went. And it was very open. It had movement. The ground went up and down, and you had turns and this and that, and you got to go through streams and creeks. You also got to, every day, the horse got to run. And so you were very excited about that, because you don't get with a horse that runs like that often in an area that's that big of a space.
Yeah, so like when you take lessons, I think it's probably kind of like starting out in the cigar business. Like you're kind of confined to one space. Like, I'm starting this new thing. When you're taking lessons, you're usually in a paddock, so it's railed off there. It's probably an oval or a circle or a smaller square, something like that. But it's not like you go anywhere. So it's not like you're doing this whole, I'm galloping down the beach or I'm running through a meadow. And so I would imagine, like, when you start smoking cigars, you kind of
Stick to
you
one.
you might stick to one cigar, or you might stick to one location. Like, I'm just going to smoke on my back porch because I don't want anybody to see me being a newbie and I don't know what I'm doing and I just want to figure this out, and I'm going to watch a lot of videos, and I'm just going to learn in my space. So that was one of the things, when you go and you do an experience like this, it's so that you can get out of your normal space and routine. And so cantering, which is that running thing, you don't do real often if you're just kind of a casual rider and you just want to figure life out on horseback and stuff. Now you do get into that, but it's not like you're out in the woods and you get this hill, and they did have it, and it's a spot called Canter Hill, where you start at the bottom and the horses know this spot, like they've done it every day, day in and day out. They know this spot, and so they start getting a little antsy, and you start feeling them under you. Go, oh, 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 and the guide's telling you, like, okay, they're gonna start feeling this, but if you don't want to run up it, this is how you hold them back, and you guys come behind the people who want to run. And so the horses get to the bottom of this hill, and they know it's coming, and so as soon as you give them the tiniest little bit of, okay, let's go, they go. And so it's really exciting for people like me who just want to get that experience of riding, who don't get it very often, to do that. So that was an exciting thing. And I will agree with you. Like, I have ridden lots of places to do trail rides because I love it. And you get certain trail rides where, like, the path is open and it's beautiful, the scenery is gorgeous, and then you have some people who are doing trail rides where you ride in the same little circle, you've seen that same tree, but they're trying to give you your hour-long experience, and it's kind of suspect and sketchy, and you're like, how in the world do you make this a trail ride? And they do it because they've cleared out this little spot, and you just get meh.
And it was interesting too. I really think there's a big difference in horses that are a small group of horses at a small stable, and they run that same ride. And let's face it, horses are expensive. The business got to be businessing, so you got to put a lot of people on them saddles to make a lot of money so that you can afford to feed your horses and vet bills and everything else. And there were so many horses here, and horses were allowed to be horsing. They got to hang out. They got to hang out with each other. They got to run around the fields and roll over and do whatever they wanted to do.
Yeah, because if they were in a group and they were galloping by, it didn't take long for the rest of them to gallop right on by.
And it really changed the perspective, because the horses didn't feel like some of the horses you've had to deal with before. They're like, oh, I got to do this again. So they don't want to run. They don't want to do anything. Yeah. They don't even want to walk. They just want to stand there because they're tired and they want to eat grass. And it was interesting to hear your perspective and the fact that you're like, man, 2 hours is great. I could have went 3. The last time I rode horses was when Caitlin graduated high school, and she wanted to take a road trip to Chicago. And we were going through Kentucky, and I made a mistake and said, why don't y'all horse ride? And so the first lady and my Gracie kind of guilted me into riding. And the horse's legs were 4.5, 5 feet tall when we left, or when we got there, and I think they were 1.5 feet tall when I left.
You did a good job that day.
That jug was going uphill and downhill. I squoze his guts out so hard, and I talked to that horse. I said, "Horse, you throw me off this dang thing. I'm telling you, you're going to kill me, but I'm going to punch you in the head before I do. So let's not have a moment like this." I was petrified. My bladder was spasming, my knees were shaking, and it was not good. But we only have 15 minutes left. We have not talked about the life-saving story, but I'd like to take this moment to say that I'm enjoying this story with the First Lady while smoking a Camacho cigar. That's right, Camacho cigars, great for stories, great for moments, great by yourself, and great for any other time. If you like to smoke cigars, smoke a Camacho. And if you get on to Facebook and the social medias, tell them, say, "Hey, Bob the Cigar Guy said he loves y'all," and thank you very much. So thank you, Camacho, for giving us the opportunity to share these stories with you on your ride home. Now, if you are in that driveway, do not listen to the First Lady. Listen to BTCG when he says, get out that door, get on the other side where life starts living, the people love you, and you love them back. You've only got 2 more days until Monday, so you need to soak it all in, drink it all up, and enjoy it all and clock into life because you've clocked out of work. That's a fact. That was pretty good right there. I like that.
Yeah.
I did that well.
Is that not your catchphrase?
No, that's the first one. Clock into life and clocked out of work. I like it. I like it.
You have to go back and watch it again and write it down.
I am. I'm going to have to write it down. But I want to segue into, and I will start this out.
Okay.
From my perspective. But then you will get into the heroicism. So, last day, I'm sitting out and I'm smoking cigars. I'm smoking a ton of cigars. I'm taking lots of pretty pictures around the horses. I'm sitting out there. I had just fired up a Norteño, and I was going to take some pictures of it by the bonfire area. And all of a sudden, my phone, which we had very limited service, my phone screams at me and says, SOS emergency. You know that thing that you're not supposed to push? Well, I get in the messages, and the messages are saying it's Sarah, the First Lady, and there's an emergency. Somebody has fallen down, somebody's fallen off a horse, and they're unconscious or something like that, and I am freaking out. And so then it sends me to it has the SOS thing is pretty cool because we're in the middle of the woods. Well, I'm in the field, she's in the woods, and it sends me a little map, a little bip where I'm on, and it shows me where I need to go. And so Cigar pitched. Well, I tried to walk and smoke with a cigar, but I was walking so fast, I was breathing like I had emphysema. So I had to, man, I was mad. I pitched that cigar, and so I start walking, and off I go. I go through the woods. I end up going into a creek area, walking around that. I end up coming out. Now, this is, I don't know, 10 minutes goes by. I'm walking, trying to get to Sarah, scared to death what's going on. And there's little comments coming up, and the comment that made me a little less nervous was, the question was, did this happen to you or somebody else? And Sarah said, somebody else is hurt. And so I'm like, oh, that's bad, somebody else is hurt, but thank God it's not the First Lady. And so I come walking up this hill at the end of the woods into a field, and in the field of grass, it's 2 feet tall. Lo and behold, they're 2 of the largest horses I've ever seen in my life looking at me. Now, I am nowhere near safety. I can't stop and hide behind a tree or climb a tree. Not that I'm going to climb a tree, but, you know, I don't have time. And so I walk up to these horses and I say, look, I've got to find my Sarah. She's hurt. Do not bother me. I got a pocket knife, and you gonna hurt. You may win, but I'm gonna just get out of my way. And they looked at me, ears all twisting left and right, and they didn't do a thing. They left me alone. And as I rounded the corner from those horses, there was I'll show you the pictures, no less than 30 horses just standing there. And they're looking at me, and I'm like, oh, damn. It was the worst. No, it was bad. It was the worst moment I could have, being traumatized, trying to find you and going through horses. I'm like, don't mess with me, horses. Don't mess with me. And my knees are shaking and my bladder's spasming. And I got to pass gas, and I'm afraid because my intestines might be giving me false signs. And so I'm walking, breathing heavy because I've been moving up and down the hill. By the way, during that time, Sarah's phone clicks off to everybody in the family, all of her emergency contacts. And so Steven calls me and he goes, "Hey, what's the matter with Mom?" I said, I think it's okay. I'm walking through the woods right now, going to get your mom." And he goes, "Dad, don't do that." And I said, "What?" He goes, "They don't need to find you because you're lost." I got ill. I laughed for a second, but I got ill. I'm like, "Boy, do you know what I used to do for a living? I was a recon Marine. I ain't gonna get lost. I'm gonna find your mama. I may die from being out of breath, but dang it, boy, hush. I'll tell you. I'll tell you when I find your mama." And then Caitlin called, or I called Caitlin and told Caitlin I'm going to find you. I ended up getting out of the field, or going way through the field, and I heard a guy go, "Help!" And I started going towards the sound. And so as I was getting closer towards the sound, there was a side-by-side, one of those little tractor things that it went up in there, and they went with a doctor who happened to be there riding horses. They went in there, and they got the young lady out, and they were coming out. And so as I was walking in towards the woods, the first lady was coming out. Now, that's my experience. Now, First Lady's experience is completely different, and I'm going to relight my cigar because I talk too dang much, and I am going to allow you to just share with everybody your amazing feat of saving, and your compassion and caring, and being prepared to help somebody in need. First Lady, this is your warning. Take it away.
Thank you very much. I appreciate. So on my side of it, it plays out very differently, um, because for me, I was not in a panic mode. I was in a, we've got something that needs to be taken care of, and I have to troubleshoot it. So what ended up happening is, again, because I didn't have a partner to ride out with, and you can't ride out solo, I went with a guide. Well, the guide also, and she was great. I had ridden with her before. I specifically picked her as my guide to go out with because of how much, like, she did a great job. And so I really enjoyed riding with her. So we went out, and the people who joined us, who ended up joining us, was this couple. They were a boyfriend and girlfriend couple. They were only coming out to do a 1 hour ride. And so, um, no horse experience. And so I was like, already in my mind, I figured, like, we're really not going to do much. There's a part of the trail that you can only go on with a guide, because it does cross a creek, and it goes way back out into the woods, where if you really don't know where you're going, like, you're gonna have to just let that horse go and ride until they get back to the barn, because it's that wooded and dense. And so, benefit for me going with the guide, I could go out into that area. So we were riding out into that area, and there's a fence, and you have to open it, and there's a big sign that says, guided only. And so you kind of know right away, like, okay, I'm going into this place, not everybody's going with me. And so, much more remote, less people walking by or riding their horses through, because you can only go back there with a guide. And let's face it, people who go with somebody else, they don't go guided. They go unguided, so they can ride however they want to, wherever they want to, however long. So, we go through the gate, and so her horse that she was riding was a newer horse to the trail guides. And so what she was doing was putting miles on him, getting him used to being out there, getting him used to riding. Um, you just have to do it. You have to prove them before you can put somebody else on them to ride, and expect them to keep them safe. So her horse had kind of been, antsy the whole time we were there. This was not my first time riding with her. Um, but she did a good job of getting him through the gates. Now, in retrospect, I think that, he does need much more time with an experienced rider to get him used to the gates opening and closing, to get him used to the water and the going up and down, and all of these things, just because you could tell he was nervous. So we go through the gate, we cross the first creek, and we get to this spot where it's really flat and level, but you can open up and you can canter. Well, here we are with this boyfriend and girlfriend, and so she's asking them, like, what are you comfortable with? How do you feel? Do you want to try and run? And I mean, let's be honest, a lot of people who go on horseback rides, they want to do it. They want to run. They want to trot. They want to get up there. They want to experience that freedom. So then the girlfriend was like, "Yeah, I'm down for this." And the boyfriend was like, "I'm not sure how I want to go so fast, but I'll hang in the back. You guys go ahead. No big deal." So we get to the spot, and again, the horses know where these spots are, and they start getting antsy. And the guide's horse was like, "Yeah, let's go, let's go, let's go." So, like, we took off and we're riding. Well, I had on a new pair of breeches that I had never worn before, and I had my cell phone in my pocket. Well, we're cantering and we're going fast, and I feel my phone coming up out of my pocket. So I'm holding the reins with one hand and I'm shoving my phone down in my pocket with the other, and I'm holding on, and I'm like, this I better slow down a little bit. So I'm pulling back a little bit. We're slowing down. Well, she's behind me and she's starting to slow down a little bit, and so we get to the end where the horses just come to a walk, and she was like, well, how was that? And she's checking in with everybody. And I told her, I said, well, I learned that these britches are not good ones for my phone. I said my phone kept coming out of my pocket, so I had to slow down. Well, the girl behind me goes, yeah, I kind of learned that too. I'm pretty sure I lost my phone. Her phone had come out of her pocket and fell. Well, the boyfriend who was behind her saw the phone come out of her pocket, and so he kind of like stopped with it. So when we got down there, he's like, I found the phone, and he's hollering it at us. And so my guide is like, well, I'll go back and pick it up, because one of the rules is you don't dismount when you're out on the trail. You don't get off, because then you more than likely cannot get back on, because horses are tall. So guide goes back. Well, somewhere between, guide goes back and gets the phone, dismounts and gets the phone, and she remounts her horse. Somewhere in that blink of an eye, her horse spooked and bolted. And I was watching her because I had turned back around to see where she was. As soon as I like turn back around and I get my eyeballs on her, her horse is just barreling at us, and she falls off. And when she fell off, she hit like a rock. She was not wearing a helmet. I'm just going to tell you, if you ride, I don't care how experienced you are, wear a helmet. Your brain is important. Wear a helmet. Horseback riding is the most dangerous sport. Wear a helmet. So, she fell off, and when she hit, she bounced. And she hit so hard that it knocked her unconscious. And so here I am. Now, listen, y'all, I have experience with crisis and trauma. Not many folks do. And so your first response when you see a traumatic event is much like Bob's first response when he got the text. And that was, I have to do something. Something is wrong. I have to do something. It is not a time when your brain thinks logically on its own. It thinks protect. And so I am used to regulating that response. And so my job in that moment was make sure she's okay and make sure the rest of the people in my group are okay. Horses will eventually be okay. That, like, okay. As long as the horses aren't freaking out, we're okay. There was a lot going on, and I will tell you, there's a lot to the story. The moral of the story is, though, one person panics, another person stands still, the other person can do the work. I'm the person who did the work. It required me to, like, regulate the emotion of panic, because on the other side, when he's receiving all of the SOSs, I'm in the woods where we have absolutely no cell phone service, and I'm going, how do I get help to us without having to pack her out? And so my thought process is, I'm taking care of her. I assess the situation. I had to get her in a position because she was out. And I want to say she was probably out between 7 and 10 minutes. I think she was unconscious. And during that time, like, your body goes through these things where it in itself is having to take care of itself, and so all of the blood flow goes straight to your center, your core, because it's protecting all of your vital organs. And so I had to get her positioned where she wasn't, number one, breathing in a face full of dirt. Number two, if she had had any seizure activity, that she wouldn't aspirate, making sure that she was breathing, and assessing all of that. And in between doing that and trying to get help, I'm checking on her, and I'm walking away because I have to get satellite signal. I had to connect my phone to satellite, which, by the way, if you have a newer phone, all of your phones will connect in an emergency to a satellite signal, but you have to have clear view of the sky in order for that to happen. So, assessing the situation, making sure that I could get messaging out, because in all honesty, what I was hoping would happen for you and anybody else who got my SOS was that you would contact the barn and say, "Hey, I got this text from my wife. This is what is happening," because they know where I'm at. They know who I'm with. They know how to get out there. So I'm thinking, get the message out. "Hey, we need help. It's an emergency. Please contact somebody who can then get to us." Your response was, "I got to get there. No pass and go. We just go, go, go. We're not, no stopping to collect $200. Get out there." Well, in the meantime, at some point along the way, the barn folks were notified. They brought the gator out. We could hear it coming. By that time, she was conscious. I was talking with her. We had caught her horse. I was still working with the girlfriend, who did an amazing job of being very calm, and just being able to, like, stand, if you will, in a situation that required calm. I don't consider myself doing anything spectacular or amazing. It just was a situation where someone was hurt, and we needed to be able to get her help the best way possible, keeping her the safest as possible in that moment.
So of course the first lady is going to be humble about it. If she wasn't there, bad things could have happened, or it could have escalated to worse. So in a way, I'm glad that you were there, because you could give that moment, and you could get them through the situation. Um, and you'll have great stories. I love having great stories, but the fact that you had to go through that, you were prepared for it, you've experienced it, and you stepped up and did what needed to be done. I wish it just would have been great horse rides all the time, but in follow up that night, the girl came back from the hospital, and she said she had the MRIs or CAT scans or whatever, and everything is fine, and she's completely okay. She's going to rest up for a while, because she's going to be bruised and sore and beat up for a good while. The body's going to dump all that adrenaline, and the aching is going to start. And she said she's going to keep on riding. She's going to get back up on that horse, and she's not gonna stop. But she was very thankful to Sarah for being there for that moment. And we went and told the people at the office what was going on. Just let them know after it was over, and they were very appreciative. They actually, I call it a hero discount. They gave her a little discount on her ride, because of all the excitement and all the unexpected events that happened. When I saw Sarah come out on the horse, I totally forgot about any horses. I walked straight up to the horse, which I don't do, and I made sure that she was okay. And I wanted her to tell me the story, and she gave me little tidbits and said everything is okay. And then we got back to the stall where she put the horse. I had to walk back, right? And I think somebody said, "Where's your husband?" Blah 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 blah. And she goes, "Yeah, he's in the field." He's still on a horse by himself? No, he's walking. He's walking? Yes, he's walking. Because hell or high water was not going to stop me. Horses was not going to stop me. Wild horses couldn't stop me from getting to my first lady. That fits, right? And so I was thankful that the horses did not give me a hard time. But I have to say, and sitting back and listening to you tell your story. I've heard the story before, and I enjoy the story, but I gotta say, I'm loving the lights on this backdrop. I'm sorry. Lane Crenshaw from Natural Cigars, they had these at PCA. He didn't need them anymore. He gave them to me, and they are in the studio now. And I dig those lights. It just gives that. I'm sorry. It's
Again,
me
an
and my squirrel.
equestrian themed cigar.
Great cigars, but the bands are beautiful. But you don't have to ride the cigar. You just have to smoke it. So I guess if I said horses on fire, I guess I shouldn't say that. Pete is going to block me now.
No, we're not going to set anybody on fire.
But by the way, if you're setting cigars on fire, why not set a Camacho cigar on fire today? That's right. And if you can't grab a Camacho, you can always find a Davidoff, a Avo, or a Zeno Nicaragua. They're all famous, all fantastic, all delicious, delightful, indeed lovely. And I guarantee you, smoking cigars is not the riskiest hobby you can do. So if the first lady complains about me, I say, well, you know what? I'm not going to fall off my cigar. I'm not going to get a concussion from smoking cigars. I may get a little bit swimmy, but that's not a big deal. Excuse me. So, in closing,
anytime you get a little bit swimmy, it should be considered a big deal.
no, it's not bad. You just slow down. But the first time we've ever gone over 1 hour and 1 minute, the first lady's here. Go figure. Value added. I got to cough again. I got to get a sip of coffee. Hang on just a second.
Hey, everybody got what they paid for today.
They didn't pay for it. It's free. It's free.
Exactly.
So, speaking about free stuff, we have lots of stuff on our show, on our channel. We've got Chief Talk on Thursdays at 8:15. That's our live. Chief does a great job. Fantastic, phenomenal, and funny. We got all sorts of reviews coming out. We've got Camacho reviews, Davidoff reviews. We've got Aganorsa reviews. We've got Drew Estate. We've got Time with Me telling stories with Steve Saka. Well, Steve's not here, but I'm smoking Dumbarton Tobacco and Trust. And Natural Cigars is one of the sponsors of Chief Talk as well with Drew Estate. And I have to cough again. It's the smoke that comes up from the cigar by my knees.
Allergies. It
gets up in my schnoz.
I'm telling you, they're terrible right now.
And speaking about value added and great free things, the content on Second Saturdays with the First Lady is fantastic, and you are going to get a chance to win stuff every month. All you have to do is be there and be present.
And it's not a little bit of stuff; it's a lot of stuff.
We've had giveaways which are over $1,000. You're going to get 12 cigars. You're going to get swag. You're going to get this. You're going to get that. You're going to get whatever. I have to make sure that I don't let the First Lady in here before I get in, because then that elevates. And actually last month in the giveaway, one of the things we gave away was a nice Calibri 3-count cigar carry, and First Lady opened up to show it, and I had forgot that I had taken pictures of it, and I had 3 amazing cigars in that pack. And so you didn't get 12, you got 15, because and then I added an extra one because I hate odd numbers. So you got 16 cigars and a whole bunch of stuff. But the giveaway is the hook. It's the way to get you to watch the show, but you're going to stay for the show just for the content. It's fantastic. I really, really enjoy it. I'm glad the First Lady is doing it.
Thanks.
At least I say that now. And the First Lady gets off the track sometimes, and so maybe October, November, I'm going to be like, we need to revisit this. But I bet not. I bet it's going to be great, phenomenal, and fantastic. Like a Camacho cigar smoking experience. That's right, Camacho cigars. Live life bold, smoke great cigars. That's right. So, we are out of time. I will turn it over to First Lady after I'm done saying what I say. And I got to say, you're awesome. You're phenomenal. You're fantastic. You have love to give. You do. And people love you. They do. And they're on the other side of that car door. Get out there and get with them. When you are who you are, you're everything you need to be. You're fantastic. You were created for greatness. And when you allow yourself to be great, great things happen in this world, and you are a part of that. I'm so glad you're a part of this world. I'm so glad you're part of this channel and this life. I really, really am. You make the world a better place. Please, 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 if you like the content, share the content, because now it's sponsored content. And so we need to show Camacho that, people are hearing about our cigars. We're going to keep sponsoring so we can keep bringing this great content to you. Great, because the First Lady is here. When I'm here, it's content. It's an hour long, and I hope you laugh and I hope you learn. So, First Lady, close us out and tell everybody goodbye.
I hope you enjoyed your ride home with us today. Your listening pleasure was brought to you by Bob the Cigar Guy and the First Lady of Bob the Cigar Guy
And
and Camacho Cigars.
yeah, there we go.
And if you sat in your car and you played us, maybe you put on the fast forward button so you could hear it faster, so you could get the whole thing in. There is nothing wrong with self care. But Bob is right. Life is waiting for you on the other side of the door, and that is more important. So I hope that if you push pause, you catch back on later on, maybe while you're in the bathroom or just scrolling all that stuff when you put your little earbuds in at night and you're going up and down the scrolls. Check back in and put us on fast forward. I hope you have a great day. Enjoy your weekend.
Enough said. Later, Tater.